Hey guys, it's Graham from Ecological. Today I'm very excited to be able to show you the installation of the Grille overlay on the brand new Tundra. So we're going to get to that. First, a couple of shout outs. We couldn't have done this in the time frame that we needed to without the help of two guys, Ed and Rick. I think they won't mind me sharing their first names, but they've been very helpful with their time and letting us use their trucks to help us develop this. And we've learned a lot of things from their trucks. So I'm going to talk about some of those things that we've learned that will help you in your install while we do this installation here. So for this installation, you only need a couple, I wouldn't even call them tools, just a couple things to complete the installation. First off, make sure to scan the QR code on the installation instructions. That will bring you to the written instructions. So this video is to supplement those, so please open those up as well. But you also get with your order adhesion promoter, which will show you where to use that and when, and also a couple pieces of blackout tape for you to use in specific areas that I'll show you when to use those as well. And then we'll also be using masking tape and a permanent marker and some alcohol cleaning solution. So a couple of the things that we learned from the different trucks that we've had in the shop to test parts on is centered on the variation that's on these trucks in terms of where the parts sit, where the OEM parts sit, that is, and how things will fit based on that. So if you take a look up here, you can see on this truck in particular, we have a larger gap between the grille and the hood on this side than we do over here. Here it's almost flush to the hood. So there's a good probably 1/8 inch difference in gap, maybe even more than that. Between the gaps here, so that's something to keep in mind. The one that will be more pertinent to the installation is where this fog lamp bezel sits. Sometimes it sits out a little bit more, so a little bit more towards the actual bumper portion here. So that affects how the bumper shell will sit on it, and also how this piece is tucked in here. So they're attached using screws. Some of them at the factory, they just tighten them up a little bit more than others. So we'll go through what to do with those little variation things. So now it's very important you start off with a dry fit. This is really easy to do on this model, and it's really important because of where the variation I was talking about. We might need to use blackout tape in certain areas. It just depends on however your truck was put together. So we'll go through that. So put this part on, just lay it over top and make sure that this edge slots right in there, right where that slot is. So just guide that in, you place it over top, and you make sure that this edge here tucks into that slot right there. So that should tuck in all the way down. And then here it's a little bit tight. Some models it's not, this just kind of slips right in there, but on this model I'm going to have to use some pressure to get it to slot between this panel and this panel. And then going up here, we can see that we're tucked in nice around here. Don't worry about seeing gap up here. That's not important because the upper portion of the grill is going to come down and take care of that. The most visible area is going to be over here on this side of the part. So you can see we have where the bumper ends and it impacts the fog lamp bezel. So I don't see any signs of the chrome in there. Looking down here, I can tell if there's no pressure up here, I can see a little bit of gap in there. And then once I put pressure there, then that goes away. So we look good there. I'm going to apply blackout tape here anyway, just to show you for those models that maybe the fog lamp pushes things off a little bit more. I'm going to put blackout tape there for you. All right, so the dry fit looks good. So we're going to go ahead and start the installation process. So just spray a little bit of alcohol onto a clean cloth and clean the areas of the bumper where the 3M tape is going to be touching down. So these main faces right here and right at the bottom. So make sure that's really clean because that will get dirty. And then repeat that on the opposite side. All right, so the most common areas where you will see maybe a sliver of the original surface showing up if there's something a little off in how everything was put together. Right here, right down there, and right at the top here. So we're just gonna put blackout on that. This model doesn't need it, but we're gonna put it on there just to show you what that looks like. So the adhesion promoter that you receive is going to look like this. To activate it, you just you push it in right there. That's going to break the little glass vial in that, and then you can start wiping that on the surface. We have a bigger bottle of it here, so I'm going to use that. And you just wipe it right on the areas where the 3M tape is going to be. You don't need to soak it; just a little bit will do the trick. So now just remove the backing to all the 3M tape on your part, except for the very bottom piece. And for this piece here, you're just going to take this corner like that and fold it to the front. And then we're going to use our masking tape to tape it down to the front to access after we're done. So just like we practiced in our dry fit, we're going to start at the top of the part here, and we're going to tuck it into that slot. Now that we're doing it for real, you just got to be really careful that the tape doesn't touch down and get pressure on it before you're ready for it to be where you want it to end up. So first, I'm just going to tuck that top edge in and make sure that this is where we want it to be. All right, we're going to start working our way down here. Like I said, on this model, you kind of got to push that end in a little bit. And I haven't put any pressure on any of the areas yet, because we're going to come around here and check to make sure that these are lining up so that nothing is showing. Again, we have that blackout tape there. It's not really needed for this truck in particular, but yours it might. And you just put pressure as soon as you're happy with where everything's sitting. You just put pressure on where the 3M tape is. Now that all that is adhered, then you just peel back this red portion here, which will expose the tape on the bottom, and then you just put pressure on that area too. So before we get ready to move on to the grill surround portion, it's a good idea just to put masking tape right on this area, because when you move the grill surround on, there's a corner that's just going to ride up there. So that'll help protect the finish, especially if you have a matte or a OEM painted finish while you're doing the upper install. Alright, so this is a step that you need 2 people for, because you want to make sure the position of this is exactly right. So you just bring it up, and this is again during our dry fit, so we haven't removed any tape on here, we're just positioning it. So tuck everything in, make sure you don't have any chrome showing, and the most important part of this step is to make sure that the gap on this side between there and there are equal here as it is on the other side. One last check. Everything looks good there. And so now I'm going to take, let me hold this up here for me. Just going to take masking tape. I'll put one piece on the grill right there, and one piece on the hood. Now I'm just going to draw a line across the two so that we can line those up. As part of the preparation to install the surround, we're going to take an X-Acto blade and just slice the red backing to the tape right there, there, and then on the opposite side as well, there and there. That'll give us multiple points to peel the tape from in case we get one breakage, and just also let you kind of slowly apply the tape to the grill. The 3M tape on the face of the part, we're just going to remove all of this backing before we start the install. All right, so lightly put this on again, making sure that the tape at the face doesn't touch, and we're gonna line up these lines right here. That's the first thing we're gonna do. Just make sure we've got that lined up. All right, now that I got this top portion on, I'm just gonna push it on a little bit from this surface here, just to get the tape to touch. Okay. Alright, so now that's touching down, and then we'll go to these corners and push in these lower portions. Don't put full pressure on it yet, just get it to kind of stick there. Come on, do that on this side too. All right, so I'm going to start peeling the tape back at the top, and you can see right here there's a little bit of that brushed metal showing. That's completely fine. So that's actually what these pieces of tape are here to get rid of. And since the top edge is going to be the most visible edge, I always start there and then I go to the sides and the bottom. So first thing we're going to do to get rid of that chrome, we're just going to push that in, and then we're going to start peeling back the backing. Okay, so once I've peeled it about a foot or so, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put pressure on the tape so that it doesn't come loose. And we can have that area locked in. I'm just going to keep working my way down, making sure that it's pushed in enough to just cover up the chrome, but you don't want it going too far. You don't want it interacting with the hood. So especially as we get toward this end, like what we talked about in the install, where the gap between the grill and the hood is a lot less on this side than it is on the other side. You just got to be careful you're not pushing in too far. So just enough to cover the chrome, and then after you peel a little bit, put pressure on those areas to lock it into place. Now we're going to go to the lower portions. Just make sure the red backing's not getting caught up on the headlight, because there's not a lot of gap there. And then around here, we want to make sure that's nice and tucked in, because you can't see anything really right now. But if you have a little bit of chrome showing and the light catches it, so you haven't pushed it up all the way to get rid of that, then that's not going to look so great. Same thing over here. And the last piece of tape. We've peeled all that. We're just going to go back over it, and we're going to put pressure on all the spots where the 3M tape is attaching, especially on this upper portion, to make sure that doesn't relax over time and start to show some chrome. All right, so that is it for this install. Again, big thanks to Ed and Rick letting us borrow their trucks and the local Toyota dealership for helping us really dial this model in and make this install as easy as possible for you guys. We have a lot of new products coming out for the Tundra, so keep an eye out for those. You can kind of pre-order some of the stuff that we're doing. So for instance, we're going to be tackling this very soon. I think we already have the CAD done for it, so we just got to trim out the mold. The rear bumpers mold is done. We're working on that stuff. We're going to be doing window trim and the mirrors. So if you haven't ordered that stuff already, you can go ahead and do that. Any questions, please give us a call. We've designed this part from beginning to end, so if there's anything you're coming up against, please call us and we'll be able to help you out with that. Thanks again for watching, guys.